Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about my December TBR, so let's jump in. I think you can see here that my stack is pretty big. Now I know this is a lot of books. With that being said, all of these I know I'm not going to be able to read in December, nor am I trying to, because I think I have about maybe 18 books here. I haven't counted them. There are some, which are the ones that we're going to start off with, that I really do want to read, either because it's part of a readathon that I'm participating in, or because it's a group read along, or whatever it is. So those for sure I want to read, but I also have a stack of books that I just want to have around to sort of pick off if I do finish all of these. And then I have a stack of short story collections, because my goal for December, one of my goals for December, is to read a short story every single day, in the hopes that I can dwindle down on this stack of Christmas horror stories, short story collections that I have sitting here, that I have had here for quite some time. So I know that I've said that I don't like short stories, but I find that not to be the case during Christmas time, because I love a good Christmas ghost story, and usually the best ones tend to be hidden in between short story collections. So let's jump into the books that I really do want to get to. These are for sure's for the month of December. We're going to start off with two book of the month We're going to start off with two book of the month books, and the reason why I want to get to these have nothing to do with winter, December, Christmas, or anything like that, but I like to complete the challenges that book of the month gives us in the app. I think some of them are to read debut novels, the other one is to read different genres, and the other one I can't remember. I think it's like read 12 books or something like that. So I have completed two of them, but the one that I still have not completed is to read a debut author. So the two that I have here, I know for sure are debut authors for the year. The first one being The Damage by Caitlin Warrer. I've had this one for a couple months already, and it's just calling my name. I honestly can't remember what the synopsis says about this, but and I don't want to know, because I'm so close to reading it that I really don't even want to read the synopsis anymore. And then the second one is What Comes After by Joanne Tompkins. I've heard that this is not so much a thriller, which you kind of are led to believe that it's a thriller, but to go into it without thrillery expectations. Those are the first two for sure books that I want to read this month. Also this month we have the Merry and Bright Readathon. I think that's the name of it, and I left my little notepad over there. This is run by Zoe Delaney and Chandler and somebody else. I can't remember, or maybe it's just them two. I just recently started following Chandler because of this readathon. I didn't even know who she was, and I'm obsessed with her channel already. So they're doing this Christmas readathon. I think there's one more person, but I can't think of it. But I love Zoe Delaney's channel. Even though we don't have the same reading taste, I just love her vibes of her channel. I love her vlogs, and her husband together are just the cutest things. So for this readathon, I am hoping to read this stack of books, and I actually have one missing. The readathon is only a week long. So I don't know what I'm thinking here.
Let me go get my notepad, because I'm gonna need it.
There are 6 prompts on this readathon, and I have 6 books. I could always double up on some of these books, which I will plan to do the closer that we get. This readathon doesn't start until the 9th. So, you know, if I see that I'm not going to be able to complete specific books, then I will double up, because most of these are
double upable.
So I'm not too worried about it, but I do have 6 books that I want to read. The first one is actually an ebook, and it is You Deserve Each Other. And for this, I'm going for the enemies to lovers prompt that they have on there. I've heard that this is a good one, and why not? It's Christmas. Let's do an enemies to lover romance. Those are usually my favorite kinds of romance, is enemies to lovers. I tend to fall really hard for those books, regardless of how ridiculous or how sappy they are. They always get me. The next prompt is White on the Cover, and for that I'm gonna go with The Visitor by Sergio Gomez. I mean, it's a tiny book. It's perfect for a readathon, and I thought it would be perfect because I think this takes place on Christmas Day, so the next prompt is cozy vibes. Yes, please. Who doesn't love a cozy book in the winter? For that, I wanted to go with a ghost story. This will be my first book by this author, and I'm super excited because in January I will be reading another book by this author, and I've heard that she's amazing, especially for wintry ghost stories. And that is Thin Air by Michelle Paver. If you don't know, an early kind of, not spoiler, but an early announcement is that for January, the Horror in 24 crew is going to be reading Dark Matter by this author. I have had this book sitting on my shelves for a few years now, and I just thought this would be the perfect time because it is in the cold. If you can't tell by the cover, it's cold, it's snow, so I thought it would be perfect. And like I said, ghost stories just give you like cozy vibes, at least for me they do, so this is perfect for that prompt. Next is a book that I already owned. All of these prompts have like movie titles on them, but I didn't write those. I just wrote what the actual prompt was because whatever. So there are cute names that go to these. I think this one is Elf on the Shelf, which is a book that you already own, and I just remember that because bookshelves, shelf, elf, whatever. For that, I chose Where the Dead Go to Die. I have had this book for a few years now. This came in one of our Nightworms boxes, and each winter I've been dying to read it. It is a short book. It's relatively short. It sits at the 230 plus page mark, so I thought it would be perfect for this. And then look at this cover. It's all kinds of like wintry and snowy, and I think this has to do with like some kind of plague or disease, maybe zombies, maybe, I don't know. This is written by Aaron Dries, Mark Allen Gunnels. Aaron Dries and Mark Allen Gunnels. I thought it was 3 people for some reason, but no, it's only 2 authors. The next prompt is purchased last year. Now I went through my reading planner from last year and went through mostly the books that I bought in the last 3 months because I would figure it was gonna be a little bit more wintry and Christmassy. And I was right because I got The 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss. I bought this last year, obviously, and I never got to it, so. And then the last and final prompt for the readathon is Dual Perspective. And for that, I chose The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This is a book that I've been wanting to read for a really, really long time. It's about these 2 people that share a flat, and it's like one bed, it's one everything, but they have like opposing schedules. So when one of them is off of work and is enjoying the house or sleeping, the other one is working or doing whatever they do, and then vice versa. When the other one is working or up and about, the other one uses the flat. And I think they leave each other like notes or letters and stuff, and that's how they get to know each other, if I'm not mistaken. I could be completely wrong, but I do know that they share an apartment, and that's how they get to know each other. So I'm super stoked to get to this one finally. All right, another readathon that is happening in the month of December is the Thrill to the Weekend readathon. This is ran by Jackie Wheeler. I will link all of her channel and her Instagram down below. We did one a couple months ago and I just loved it so much. All it is reading thrillers for the weekend. It is a weekend long readathon. It's 72 hours and I love it. I love everything. I mean, I love Jackie. She was one of the first people that I interacted with on booktube. Thanks to my friend Rain, we used to do the read with friends live shows, and we would read and then we did other fun stuff. And so I just love her and I love participating in almost everything that she comes up with. And she came up with Thrill to the Weekend. I participated last time. I had a super great time. She has like events and stuff during Discord. We watch movies. I think she has like a cookie decorating thing for this special Thrill to the Weekend. So it's going to be a lot of fun. She usually has a group book, which for this one is going to be In the Dream House by, I can't remember the author, I will put it here. I'm not going to be participating in the group book this time just because I don't own the book and I honestly don't want to buy another book. I'm trying to read mostly what I have on my shelves for this month, but I am going to be participating in the prompt. There is always just one prompt. Last time it was read a book with green on the cover, and I think I read 2 books for the readathon in the weekend, which was pretty awesome if you ask me. This time the prompt is read a serial killer book, a novel with serial killers, and I have 2 books here. These 2 books I've been wanting to read for a really long time. They've been on my shelves for a really long time, and it's just the perfect time. I'm super excited for both of them, but I am most excited for Killman Creek by Rachel Kane. I read Stillhouse Lake years ago through Amazon First Reads. There was one of our options, and that book sat on my Kindle forever until finally, I don't know why, I just picked it up. I wanted to read something off my Kindle. You guys know that I am horrible with keeping up with my ebooks, and I read that book and I was so obsessed with it. This is book 2 from the series, and I think there's already like 4 books. Since then, this author has passed away. It was so sad, but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she had cancer. And one of the things that her family members had asked is for support with, you know, funds and stuff, I guess for her funeral, or for, I think it was prior to her passing away, for her like medications and stuff, was to show support through buying her books, and I bought all of them. I just have a feeling it's going to be a great series all around, and even if, you know, I don't end up liking 1 or 2 of the books from the series, it was for a good cause. So I'm excited to read this. If you guys don't know what this is about, basically one day this woman and her kids are getting home and her house has been taped off, and there's cops, and I mean it's a whole array of things, and they basically found in her garage dead bodies, and she didn't know that her husband was a serial killer. He was dismembering and killing people in their garage. She was never able to go into the garage because he was in there slaughtering people, and so she was put in witness protection with her kids, and it's just been this whole deal with dealing with PTSD from this whole ordeal with her husband. And the end of the book ended with such a cliffhanger that I don't know how I've allowed this to just sit on my shelves for this long. So enough babbling. I'm hoping to get to this one. I'm not hoping, I am going to get to this one. If I only get to read 1 book for this readathon, it's going to be this one. But I do have a second book, just because last time I did read 2 books that I was like, why not? I chose The Butterfly Garden by Dot Hutchinson. This is another one that has been sitting on my shelves forever and a day. And I've heard that this is a little bit more horror-y than thriller-y, but when I searched for serial killer thrillers online, this book came out, so I'm choosing it. And I know it's almost like horror adjacent, so I'm always cool with that. That's already 10 books. I have 2 more that I am wanting to get to for sure in the month of December, which will bring it up to 12 books. But I think it's doable because that's usually my average a month, even though November and October were total duds for reading. But usually I go in between 12 and 14 books. So I think this is doable. So the next 2 books, my friend Carol, she always has a book that she reads on Discord with a group of people. It's like a read along she has every month. And for December, we have chosen December Park by Ronald Malfi. I've actually had this book on my TBR forever and a day. I own an e-copy of it, an ebook version of it that I have owned forever. But I ended up putting it on my wish list because, again, I have a hard time reaching for my ebooks, and this is a book that I wanted to actually own, even though I don't know if it's great. But my friend Tali actually got it for me for my birthday from my wish list, so I'm super excited to finally have a physical copy and finally be able to read it. And December, you know what, I've never read it because every time that December rolls along, I have so many books that I want to read, and because it was an ebook sitting on my Kindle, I always forgot about it. So December would pass by, and when I would see it on my Kindle, I would get so mad. So thank you, Carol, for finally making me read this book. I'm so excited. This is going to be the third Ronald Malfi book, and I have loved each and every one of the other books that I have read. So I have high hopes for this one, and I'm really looking forward to it. And then the last and final book that I really want to get to is for Jess's Sleep When I'm Dead book club. I think that is the name of her book club. But the co-host for this month is going to be Gwen, and I love Gwen so much. I love Jess too. They're both great, and I met them at the same time that I met Jackie with the Read with Friends, so they are just so dear to me. They are reading Dying for Christmas by Tammy Cohen, and I have had this on my TBR again for a couple years. And I'm reading it this month. Finally, I'm so excited. I think this is like a very dark thriller, which, you know, I'm always here for. All right, so like I said, I do have a couple of books that are just going to be sitting here. If I get through these, then I will read this, or even if I just want to pick up one of these because I want a mood read, then I have these available. The first two have December on the title, so they should be getting read this month. If not, I'm going to have to wait until next year because I am psycho like that. The first one is The Deaths of December. I have had this also sitting here for a really long time, not necessarily here in this house because I haven't been here in this house for a really long time, but in my other homes. I think I bought this when I was back in Texas, so it's been quite a few years, possibly 3 years already. And this is just like I guess a Christmas thriller, so yes, please. And then the next one is One Day in December by Josie Silver. This will be my second Josie Silver book. Why is that so Josie? It's not that hard, Marcella. It really isn't. The other one that I have read was The Two Lives of Lydia Bird, and I really did enjoy that one. That was a very slow burn romance, not second chance, but just a slow burn romance, and so I'm really looking forward to this one. This, I think they see each other one day on a train, and it was like love at first sight, but they sort of like never talk to each other, and next thing you know, her best friend is introducing her to her boyfriend, and it is the same guy. I don't know if it's her sister or her best friend, but I think it's her best friend. So imagine that the love of her life belongs to somebody that's very close to her. So I guess the story developed from there. I've been wanting to read this for a couple years now, and I'm hoping to do so this year. Fingers crossed, maybe. I don't know. This video is already super long, so really quick, Secret Santa is one I want to get to. I got sent this for review last year, never read it. Another one that I want to read is Afterlife of Holly Chase. This is like a Christmas Scrooge YA novel that everybody raves about. The Winter Riddle. This is like the third year that this book is on my TBR for Christmas, and I just haven't gotten to it. Abandoned by Blake Crouch. I know, a really weird book to have on my TBR for December, but this takes place on Christmas Day in 1893. Or the first initial story takes place on Christmas Day in 1893, and then we fast forward to 160 years later. So because it says Christmas on the back, I thought it would be cool to read during the Christmas time, but it's a chunker and I don't know that I'll get to it. Let's talk about the short story collections that I want to get to this month. Like I said, I'm trying to read a short story a day. So I have started with The Ghosts of Christmas Past. This is another book that I've owned since Texas, so I think it's time to read it. I DNF'd the first story. And talking about reading a Christmas ghost story every day, I missed yesterday. Today is the third, so I'm hoping to read my second story today, and I hope it's better than the first one. Another short story collection I want to get to is the Victorian Christmas Ghost Stories. I mean, look at that cover, how cute. This is volume 1. I'm hoping to reread some of the stories in Dead of Winter by Keelan Patrick Burke. You guys know I love me some Keelan Patrick Burke. His stories, like, there's never one story that I read that I'm disappointed with, so I probably want to reread this whole thing. I mean, it's really short. So another one is Christmas Ghost Stories, a collection of winter tales. I actually started reading this a couple years ago and never got through it, so I want to maybe reread some of my favorites that I have marked down here at the beginning and get through the other ones. And then the last and final book on this TBR video is Gothic Blue book Number 6, A Krampus Carol, and this is a book that was sent to me for review last year as well, which is just, you know, Christmassy, dark, short stories, and I love this cover so much. So that is my outrageous TBR for December. Again, you guys, because I know a lot of you are, every time I put a TBR video, y'all are like, wow, that's a lot of books. I don't intend to read all of these. I just like having options aside from the ones that I really do want to get to, which were the ones at the beginning of this video. So we'll see how many of these will make it onto my December 2022 TBR video. So that's it for this video, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.